Vivek, I know, is up to the task. I've had conversations with him about this. It's time to put these two in charge, give them a ton of power, get rid of career civil servants.
Yes, ma'am. I can't wait. And remember, I was a federal attorney. I was an acting director in a top 10 agency of an appellate office. And I really can't express adequately what it is like to push against the beast of spending. And among those spendings, I want to talk to you about something, Paul, which is the overpayments. This is where the waste comes into play. 3 trillion, open the books reported. Since 2004, they define it as essentially wrong payments to the wrong person or for the wrong reason. Do you think Americans will give that back? Because I saw firsthand the billions of overpayments by the Social Security Administration where, oh, I'm sorry, guys, we just wasted $3 billion for no reason other than ineptitude, incompetence, or sheer laziness. And my point
do you think she takes issue with people who embezzled PPP loans that ended up getting forgiven because so many people took advantage of them that they decided it wasn't even worthwhile? Nah, don't look at the, like, $1 trillion we spend on the military, you know? Look at, like, over the course of 20 years, a few billion got overpaid through Social Security. Not Social Security, not those greedy, conniving old people who have worked their whole lives.
is that it is the structure.
How do you fight this rhetoric, Vaush? I'm really sorry, but, like, this is the direction things have taken. You don't. People who believe this are gone. They really are. You, in an individual sense, like person to person, if you have a friend or a family member who watches stuff like this and they're like, yeah, that's true, maybe you can push back on some points, maybe you can. They're not like impossible to reach or anything, but in a social, cultural sense, this is a wave of anti-empiricist hysteria that goes beyond, like, you're essentially asking, how do I logic these people out of not believing in logic? You are really running the limit on that. And I think that overall, both history and like contemporary engagement with people who believe this sort of stuff agrees with my position. It's about the media environment. It's about creating a compelling counter narrative. It's not about debunking what they're saying, because what they're saying is so straightforwardly stupid that if the person was susceptible to logic, they wouldn't have believed it in the first place.
Structure that bakes it in. So Elon and Vivek are coming in and they're going to blow up that structure just like this. Well, we gave them money before, so we're going to do it again. No, we do not inherit the incompetence anymore.
I'll give you a good example, salient example. So apparently it's bouncing around online that when Pete Hegseth got SecDef, there was a quote from a government contract, military contractor, saying essentially, who the blank is Pete Hegseth? That is exactly the reaction you want, right? Because who's this outsider that's going to come in, that's going to kick this whole thing over, essentially, right?
This has absolutely nothing to do with their talking point of wasteful spending, but it does give the game away that what they're really talking about is Trump loyalty. This is exactly like the whole point of this. The underlying point they're trying to talk about here is how it's good that all of the people Trump is appointing are incompetent sycophants, right? Like that's their real point, which is why they're talking about Hegseth now. It has nothing to do with government spending.
Right? It's not somebody that he's taken to lunch. He's been whining and dining for the last 20 years, that he knows the contract's a done deal. That's exactly what you're talking about, Kaylee, and that is what you need. The other thing is, two things real quick. First of all, why are we funding all these bad ideas in other countries? We have enough bad ideas of our own, for the love of...
Bad ideas? What do you mean bad? Those were research grants. What are you talking about? They were research into an idea. Do you think people shouldn't wear seatbelts? It doesn't even make any sense.
The other thing is this real quick. I know and I recognize, and this is the argument against it, that the real money we have to worry about is Medicare, Social Security. I get those are the big numbers. I understand that. But
no, first of all, no mention of the military. Second of all, yeah, pretty hard to cut government spending without going into those. Healthcare, Social Security, and the military. He's prepping people. He's prepping all of the old people who watch this. When they get their benefits cut, you know, they need to be ready. It's going to be really bad, man. In mandatory spending, Social Security, 1.1 trillion, Medicare, 769 billion, Medicaid, 458 billion, Paycheck Protection Program, recorded subsidy cost of forgivable loans made to businesses to cover payroll and other expenses. Subsidies, effectively. Unemployment compensation. Fully about half of our spending and a majority of our mandatory spending is basic, like, if you're old, sick, poor, dying, whatever, you're not on your own. If you want to start really cutting the budget, Keep in mind, by the way, I think that all of these are way too high because I think that there is a fundamental mistake in addressing people's basic needs by just covering the money for those needs. I think that selective decommodification is better because that way you can get those services or products from the companies that provide them at a much lower baseline price rather than paying the regular market price for them. I don't want Social Security. I want old people to have free shit. And then when the government pays for that off of their account or whatever, the government pays less than what a private citizen would. Likewise with Medicare, Medicaid, we know I'm in favor of single payer, so on and so forth. They're going to cut heavily into the non-defense discretionary spending. Definitely not into defense, though. This is only going to get larger and larger every year. Sheesh.
These wasteful products still take us into the billions, right? It still matters. Yep. What you do, and this is what I'd like to see, is as you cut these superfluous programs, put them into something that people visually see. Say, we cut $500 million from this nonsense, we built an old age home.
First of all, you have not found even close to 500 million. You were looking at so-called wasteful spending that was in the ballpark of several million. Like, 500 million is still nothing in the context of federal spending, and you haven't even come close to that.
Veterans. Here it is, in Maryland, in Virginia, in wherever. And that money went here, something useful, something domestic.
Yeah. Well, let's do a little more examples of this squander of what your money, guys.
Oh, please.
The government's money, that is your money.
Your money.
Let's show you a few more things.
$30,000? Oh my God. 30,000. Oh, that's crazy. All of these look totally, wait, $200,000 to make monkeys transgender to study HIV in trans women. They should have put more money into that. That's crazy. $2 million for the construction of a kelp and shellfish nursery in Maine. Isn't that just like straightforwardly an economic investment? Don't you want kelp and shellfish to continue to exist? They're kind of like a component of like what? They hate fish? I think they just hate America. Yeah. $100,000 to see if a sunfish is more aggressive than when given gin or tequila. That rules. Dudes rock, huh? The oceans off the East Coast are dead. They need to be rebuilt. I don't think they're getting rebuilt, man. It's a dead country. It really is. It's remarkable because with this, trifecta victory by the Republicans, I think that pretty soon I'm going to have to graduate America to a position held previously by only one country, the United Kingdom, which is that it's a dead country. The United Kingdom is dead because they are so tied to old values and their aristocracy and their nobility, their civility in the face of adversity or presumed civility. They don't want change. They can't deal with change, so they let their country rot and die rather than try anything new. Yeah, the UK is dead, but in a stable way. The United States is about to be dead in a very aggressive kind of corpse explosion way, if you understand my deal.